Today I want to give you 5 things that I wish I knew before I started keeping reptiles. Firstly is that things are going to break. This should have been more obvious. It really wasn't, but whether you like it or not, occasionally you're dealing with a lot of electronics and things using electricity and pieces that are used a lot, and eventually things are going to break. Whether it's a heat mat, which I've had like 3 of break. Don't buy the off-brand ones, just go with like one of the main companies, because actually the only company I haven't had break is the Zoomed one. My Exoterras broke, my off-brand weird ones from Repticon broke, and some other company I don't even know the name of broke. How do I say it without sounding like a sponsor? Well, if you want a Zoomed one, I'll link them below in a kit that I have for them, because they seem to work the best. And then things like light bulbs might just occasionally blow, and water bowls you might occasionally drop, and enclosures might occasionally crack. It's not a huge thing in the past of all the different stuff that I've had to buy. Overall, most of it continues to work, but there are those occasional expenses that you don't expect to pay, but you kind of have to because your animals need them. Secondly is that even perfectly healthy animals are just going to act weird sometimes. Of course, it's good to always be watching the animals and monitoring them, and if you think they need help, make sure they get help for whatever it is. But other times, I think I kind of freaked out more than I needed to with different issues, which is understandable because this is a living animal we're talking about. But things like my ball python just going off feed could have saved that $80 and not go to the vet for it when I was first keeping them. And then maybe it's been a little bit longer than usual for your animal to poop, or it's skipped a meal or two. These are definitely things that you should watch and probably record, just like not shoot or make a video on unless you want to, but like write down and then just keep track of and keep watching. But oftentimes it's just one little weird thing that pops up with the animal and it's perfectly fine the next day. So be mindful of it all, but you don't have to get all anxious and freak out about it. The next thing is I had no idea that the food I was giving my reptiles almost need more care than the reptiles themselves. Whether it's giving the roaches food and cutting all the veggies up, or replacing their little water dishes and water packets, or cleaning the enclosure, it takes about the same, if not more care than the animal that I'm giving it to. Which this is something that directly impacts your animal, so it's definitely good to keep your insects healthy and I guess happy until they get eaten. And it's not like a huge deal, it doesn't take a ton of time, but it's something I didn't expect because things like roaches and crickets are pretty straightforward, but also consume a little bit of time. Number 4 is that there's a lot of reptile products being sold for reptiles that aren't necessarily great for reptiles. For example, heat rocks are still sold in a ton of stores. There's going to be controversy on different products if I talk about them all. I'll just use heat rocks as an example. This is something that people have had a lot of issues with. A lot of times they either break or stop working the way they should and end up getting extremely hot. Maybe one spot on it is hundreds of degrees because of some sort of issue it's having. That's just one example though. There are other products that aren't always perfect for them. I think one issue with this is putting different animals on certain packs of products, like putting a ball python on a bag of sand. I know it's just from marketing to show like, hey, this is for reptiles, and hopefully the person did research, but a lot of you come to me and they're like, you said not to use sand with ball pythons, but there's a ball python on this. So of course it's perfectly fine for them. So I don't know if that's more the fault of the seller or the buyer when it comes to how the product is marketed, because at the same time, hopefully you did do your research. But it is something to keep in mind that just because something says it's perfect for this animal doesn't always mean that it actually is. And the number 5 is that bites from the majority of the animals that you'll be keeping are really hyped up way too much and not a big deal at all. Whether it's like a ball python, lots of people mix up ball pythons with rock pythons, which is one of the largest snakes, and like not the same. But that's not even related. People still, they do just get really worried, which is perfectly understandable. I think it's natural for us to be scared of getting bit by something. That's the whole point of the animal biting. But a little nip from your corn snake isn't going to overall be a huge deal. It's definitely something you should avoid, but then along with that is anticipating the bite. It's really easy to anticipate it, but it happens a lot less often than you may think, unless you have one that's really defensive because maybe it's really young, which is when they're going to be the most nippy, or because it's had a bad past with other keepers, other than those circumstances, there's going to be a very rare chance that you're actually bitten by one of your animals. But even then, when it does, like I said, it's something that's not really there that you should have to stress about before getting the animal. So be as careful as you can, because the bites can potentially hurt the animal too. Like a snake could lose a tooth in your hand, which is something I've never had happen, something that's very rare. But overall, trying to avoid bites is good, but not stressing over these bites is going to make you a lot happier, because it's something that shouldn't have to be thought about so much. So those are 5 things I wish I knew before keeping reptiles. None of them are like super big deals, but having known some of those things before actually getting my animals could have alleviated some stress, and I could have had a easier period getting into the hobby. But make sure to leave your things that you really didn't expect or didn't know about, or wish you didn't worry as much about, in the comments of this video, and let me know if you want another video like this. But that should be it for today. So I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.